So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want us to think for him. He does not want us to limit him. He does not want us to think what he can do, what he can't do. Just think of it this way. You, as a human being, are limited in a sense that you could only see what's in front of you and have a perception of a potential future. You can see the current situation as a human being, and you have a perspective, your own visual of what your current action could potentially lead to in the future. You're not sure what's going to happen in the future. But you think that this leads to this, cause effect. Sometimes it doesn't, though. There's always an exception. So, in essence, a human being is limited to a one-dimensional vision with a perspective of a potential future. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you look at the Ilchot Yesodei Torah of the Rambam, or you look at Shmona Prakim at the end, you'll see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't think that way. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for him, the past, the present, and the future is all the same thing. Now, of course, this is impossible for a human being to understand, but that's exactly it. That's what makes you human. If you were able to understand the past, the present, and the future, you would not be human, you would be God. And there would be two gods, Chas v'Shalom. So to understand God would require you to see the past, the present, and the future as one thing. Now, with that being said, since we know that there's no way that it could have predicted that it's going to be 900 degrees in this room today, and there's no way that we can predict anything really, we can just assume certain things, most of the anxiety that we have is unwarranted. Why? We worry about things that we can't predict anyway. So even the negativity that we predict sometimes, and if you're a negative person all the time, you predict that you're not going to be able to find a Shidduch. You predict that you're not going to find a job. You predict that you're not going to have enough money to pay the bills this month. You predict that you may not be able to have kids, Chas v'Shalom. You predict that you may not have food to eat this week. You predict that you're not going to like this specific meal because it looks funny. You predict all types of things. The reality is most of those predictions are wrong. But even if you're a really good predictor, 50-50 at best. 50-50 at best, right or wrong. Which means that at the very best case scenario, 50% of the time, your concern, which led to anxiety, was a complete waste of time. That not only wasted your time, but led you to feel horrible for no reason whatsoever. I have a student, God bless her, she, for a while, she was worried. Why? She's worried she's not going to find a husband. She's not 20 years old. And she's not multimillionaire that, and she doesn't have necessarily all the requirements she thought in her mind that would warrant her finding a husband easily. And when she started looking, she couldn't find. Every guy that she found had something went wrong, something this, something that. And she went on for months and months and months and months. A year passed since she started looking, nothing. A year and a half passed. Then one day she said, you know what? I give up. I don't want to do it anymore. For what? For what? Why would I even bother going out with all these losers on dates when they don't even have enough decency to call the next day and say, oh, listen, I'm interested, not interested. Or to even pay for the meal sometimes. The guys in this generation, by the way, I hope you guys are not one of them. The guys in this generation, I don't know where they learn their manners. Maybe from wolves. They take girls for dinner, but they don't pay. I don't know what happened. If you don't have money, don't go. If you don't have money, stay home. You're still a child. Get a job, make money, and then you go. But until you have a job and the money, don't go. Why? Where'd you learn your manners? A wolf? Where are you going to find some dead cat on the street on the way to the restaurant to feed her? Rabotai, you have to feed people. You have to have manners. You have to open doors. You have to open the door. Why? She's a lady. You have to say thank you. I don't know, you don't teach this stuff anymore. Anyway, seems like a generation raised by wolves. She says, I'm going on dates with these guys. Some people, mamash, manners, I don't even want to tell you the stories. I say, where'd you find these kids? Garbage pail? Where'd you find these people? When I was a kid, probably before any of you guys were born, or at least most of you, we used to have trading cards. You guys probably have, I don't know, baseball cards or something, right? When I was a kid, we had in Israel, back then we were like a third world country. In Israel, we had a collection of cards. What was it called? Garbage pail kids. You guys had this in America, like I think in the 60s or something. We had it in the 80s. It was called Garbage Pail Kids. Little images of garbage pails. So that's why I think Garbage Pail Kids. Kid, it's a cartoon of kids growing up in a garbage pail. Seems like, unfortunately, some people's manners grew up in the same garbage pail. So she says, I'm going on dates with these guys. They don't have any manners. They don't say this. They don't say that. They don't pay. All types of horrible stories. Some guys show up with body odor. Some guys show up, just not clean. All types of really odd and strange things. She says, I give up. I told her, it's not for you to give up, though. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sending you on all of these trips in order for you to get to a eventual, inevitable destination. How you're going to get there is not your business. That's what you just have to do. You just have to get there. Sometimes the journey to the promised land that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to send us will take 40 years. Even though it should have taken 3 days max. Hashem wants to send us on a long route. If you have emunah in Hashem and your confidence in Hashem, guess what? You're not only going to get there, you're going to get there with a smile the whole way.